All right, Grasshoppers, the handsome one, Mr. Everything, Stud Muffin. He can do it all. Mark Puttenvink, trainer de jour. He's got his company called Patriot Training Systems. Trains everywhere from Navy SEALs, football players, hockey players, moms at home, whatever it is he can train. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great, man. How are you? Happy 4th.
Good. So a little bit. Oh, thank you. You too. So no sun in the last couple of days, right? You've been out like.
No, I went by the pool yesterday, and it the sun was out for probably 30 seconds. Then it started.
Yeah, it's supposed to be nicer today, but we'll see. So, what did you do for July 4th? The family over? What'd you do?
No, my guys live in New York, so Sean actually was hiking up at Bear Mountain with his girlfriend.
Oh,
and my younger son Ty worked.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see either one of them.
Yeah. July 4th really isn't that big of a thing for our family. We really don't typically do that much.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. I mean, most people have a barbecue and then go see the fireworks and anything like that. But I think everybody's still in sort of a malaise with this COVID over kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't seem too much. I was cooking yesterday too, and I had some barbecue chicken. I made barbecue sauce. I made up. So it was a little bit sweet, I put honey in it. It's funny. I haven't eaten stuff like that also. When you have something that's just even a little not clean, it really affected me. Like, oh God.
Yeah, you feel guilty, right?
Yeah, affected me, and even my stomach a little bit. I was like I'm so used to eating all clean food. It's just what's happening. But
it makes it difficult too. Like if you have to travel, and that's a conversation we could have one day. Just how to eat healthy on the road.
Yeah,
I mean, and hockey was a little different because you had your team meal and everything. I got sick of that team meal, by the way.
I know.
It's the same thing everywhere you went.
Yeah. It's so funny how we used to eat back then compared to the way we eat now. Like guys eat big steaks. Yeah.
Well,
Bernie Nichols is one of the best. He would say to the chef, like chef would say, how do you want to cook? He said, pull off the tails, pull off the horns, wipe its ass, and put it on a plate. Yeah. It was totally rare. It was just barely cooked at all. He would eat it rare. Yeah.
That's pretty much how I like my meat. But I made a fatal error one day because I'm an American. I don't know, poutine, whatever. Right. So I went out. We were in Montreal. I went with a couple of guys to Harvey's. Is that it?
Yeah.
And they kind of held me down and made me eat some poutine. And it's okay. I'll leave it.
That's the French fries with the gravy and cheese on it, right?
Yeah, the curds and all that kind of stuff. And then I did a hockey school in Ottawa years ago, and they actually had the coffee truck rolled up in the morning, but they were serving that out of the truck as well. You got a Hull right across the river there, which is French.
I've told the story on there before, and if I've told the story, Dave Silk and I. So Dave Silk was on the 80 team. Rookie year in the league, when Quebec City still had the team, and so we're up. In your rookie year in the league, you really think you're something. You're up in Canada, everybody's going to recognize you and all this. So we go out to eat, him and I, and we had the suits on the whole bit. We go to a place for a fondue dinner, and we're sitting down, and the bowls in front of us and everything, and everybody's staring at us. And we, being the cocky rookies, thinking they're staring at us because we're two NHL hockey players. All of a sudden, the maitre d' comes running over, sitting by the window. He grabs the bowl, throws it out the window. The flame was up so high, so they were staring at us. They're looking at us like, "You idiots!" Like, the bowl, the thing's going to catch fire.
Ceiling's getting singed.
Yeah, it was funny because I hadn't talked to Silk in a while, and we a while ago we got on the phone together, and I was telling us, sorry, Silk, is that the way it happened? He goes, yeah, exactly, that's what happened. Yeah,
I remember Doug Wilson was saying how he was flying somewhere, and did he win a cup with the Hawks? I think he did, right?
Yeah, he may have. Can't remember.
He had he was flying commercial, and he had an older woman sitting next to him. She's looking at him. She said, "You're a hockey player, right?" He goes, "Yeah, the rugged looks, the scars." She goes, "No." "Well, how'd you know?" "Well, when you were picking your nose, I saw your Stanley Cup ring."
That's right. That is true, right? Like you think people. I remember when I first got into the agent business, and I was traveling out to Western Canada, like Moose Jaw and Swift Current, and all those kind of places. And you go check into a hotel. Obviously, you got to give them your name to check in, and the ego's still going on, and whoever's at the door at the front would go, Laidlaw. And I'm thinking, I didn't remember me as a player. And they go, "Are you with the bus company?" Laidlaw bus line.
Yeah.
No, I'm an NHL player. Yeah, definitely. All right, we're going to talk training today. And one of my new favorite exercises that I used to watch other people do, and I go, what is that doing for? He doesn't do anything. And that's the kettlebell. I started doing the kettlebell, and man, does that rip you up. That's one of the best exercises now. I really enjoy doing it. Well, part of me is like, I don't want to do it sometimes because it's a good one. It really gets you going, right?
Yeah. So I did Saturday. I did 50-pound kettlebell swings.
Yep.
But I did them for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 12 minutes, which is 6 minutes of work.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Oh.
I got up yesterday and I went out and I was doing my hanging for my shoulder. And I figured I'll do a couple pull-ups. I'm like, why am I so sore?
Yeah.
And then I remember
everything too, right? Like your butt, your legs,
my legs, my hammies, my traps, and my deltoids are they're still sore today. Yeah. So when you think about 6 minutes of really work,
yeah,
and I'm beat up,
yeah,
and plus the metabolic, you get jacked completely metabolically,
yeah,
because you're strictly anaerobic power. Right. And you're breathing heavy in that 30 seconds and it goes fast. You're like, oh man, the bell goes off and you go again. But so in that 12-minute period of work and rest, 1 unit of work to 1 unit of rest, you're really pushing back something called your anaerobic threshold. You're approaching that. Anaerobic threshold, simply stated, is what is the amount of time I can give an all-out effort. And then when I meet fatigue, that's your anaerobic threshold. So if I put you in a squat rack, and you put, say, 300 pounds on your back, and you go and you go and you go, and then you can't complete another rep, that's your anaerobic threshold. And that's pretty much what you're hitting and pushing back when you're doing that 1 unit of work, 1 unit of rest. And with the kettlebell, like you said, it's a total body experience.
Yeah. Now, ideally, do you want to go as low as possible with the kettlebell when you're swinging down below it?
No, basically, you just come between your legs, almost like you're snapping a football, and then come back up. And you come to either to shoulder level, or you can go a little higher if you want.
Right.
Obviously, the higher you go, the more momentum you're going to get.
Right.
And the other thing too, it really gets your core.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh, okay. So I've been going all the way up. Is it better to stop it like at shoulder height?
I think so, because you're resisting it. You're not letting momentum and gravity control the weight.
Good point. And
that's where your core really. And you think about it, you got 50 pounds going away from you and you're stopping it.
Yeah, good point.
And it takes a lot of core strength. And to your point, sometimes, Tom, we get hung up in this, like, it's got to be an hour. It's got to be 45 minutes. No, it doesn't. And and aside from hockey, the other business I'm involved in is the self-protection. And they have a saying, it's not how strong you are, but how long can you be strong?
Good point.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. And I think that the kettlebell work really indicates that, because, if I didn't know anything about kettlebells and you came up, so Mark, you're going to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off for 12 reps. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's not whatever. It's real work, and it's hard work, and it's beneficial.
Yeah, it really is. So what if somebody's at home and they don't have a kettlebell? I guess find something else.
You could use a dumbbell.
Right.
So you maybe, I go grab one now, but so instead of it in this position, you hold it in this position, just grab it in the middle, and you could do your swings in that fashion. Or you could hold it by the end and kind of come between your legs and come back up with it.
Right. No, that's good.
The kettlebell is it's very versatile. So I think I sent you a video a while ago where I take a towel and I loop it through the handle. And it's great for your forearms, because now you're doing curls, right? I'm not big on curls, but we like those biceps. But it's really great because for hockey, for combat, really good forearm and grip strength is really incredibly important.
Any advantage to do it using kettlebells for if you are just doing a regular curl instead of a dumbbell? I guess still it's weight.
Yeah. So the difference, I think, with the kettlebell in general is it does tend to move a little bit. So it's not a fixed plane. It's not going to be in a fixed plane, right? When you're utilizing it. And like I said, you could do, I don't know if you've ever done this, a Turkish get up. It's a really, and that's just a total body, absolute strength movement. Yeah. You do 5 sets of 3 on each side, and you're done. And that, again, when we do this type of work, some people call it high intensity training. Other people call it anaerobic burst training. It's something you only want to do 2 times a week, because it really does tax your nervous system in addition to your, so you're attacking your nervous system, your muscular system, your skeletal system, and your neurological system. So all 4 of those. And often when we talk about strength and conditioning, we leave out the neurological system. And we also don't really talk about the metabolic system, but they're critical to just, here's another saying, this Tom Mack, he talks about, it's called fitness, not brokenness. And by that he means really everything you're doing in the gym or at home should be constructive. And he likes to say we exercise and we do resistance work, we do our running and all those things for health and longevity, to say, and I think I mentioned this before, save someone's life. So someone's in a burning car, you want to have the strength to pull them out or pull them out of a river, could save your life. If you're drowning, you can pull yourself out. And then the last one, is to be able to kick a little butt if necessary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And with the kettlebell, I've seen people do like one arms, like in between the legs and stuff like that around that.
Yeah. So one of the other ones I do, I go a little lighter, maybe with a 30-pound kettlebell, is you get in a half squat position and you do a figure 8 through your legs, almost like you would do with a basketball. Yeah. And again, oh my God, that just absolutely crushes your core. You're going to all your stabilizing muscle groups to maintain that posture. Yeah. You don't want to come up and adjust. You want to get in that half squat or quarter squat position and maintain that as you figure 8 through your legs with the weight. Right. You could do one arm swings. You could do 2 arm swings. You could do snatches, which are overhead. You could do, even on the bench, if you want to do chest day, take 2 kettlebells. You can go bilateral or unilateral. And again, they're not as balanced per se as a dumbbell. And life isn't balanced. I mean, when you're skating, you're getting hit. There's all kinds of different stimulus.
It's interesting. I'm going to get off topic of the kettlebells a little bit. You made me think about something. Once in a while, when I'm doing a bench press, let's say, I'll try to have it off, like not the same weight on each side. So maybe it's like a 10-pound difference. So you really got to stabilize it too, right? So, and if somebody wants to do it, just be careful though, because when you first pick it up off the bar, I mean, you really could, if you take it for granted, the bar's going to go flying. But it is pretty good. I like that.
I had my buddy Jeff, who played football down at the University of Texas, El Paso. And there was a guy in the weight room. He was literally from Tennessee, a dirt floor shack he grew up in. God bless him. He was a linebacker. So he didn't have structured workouts like farm life. Go out and find a yoke or something and press it. Yeah. So they're in a weight room, and he's really strong. So Jeff, I forget the guy's name. He says, "Hey, how much can you bench press?" "Oh, I don't know, about 265. He loads whatever's laying next to the bench. He just loads up on that particular side. And he starts ripping them out. And Jeff's like, he's got like 415 or 425 on the bench. He didn't even know what he's lifting. Oh, right? But and one side was like heavier than the other side.
That's true. Yeah. That's pretty good though. That's a good workout like that too. You really have to stabilize it too. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is too, Tom. In sport, we have a lot of pushing and pulling. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have opposite direction. Yeah. Always a rotation in sport. Like shooting a puck, throwing a football. It's all rotation. And even in combat sports, especially in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is very popular now, the grabbing gis, it's a push and pull situation. Right. Hockey fights. What is a hockey fight?
Oh, yeah. You're holding on to throwing,
you pull and you feed.
Yeah. Right. Totally. It's kind of a weird question, but like who would think ever invented the kettlebell and started doing the swings?
I believe, and I may be wrong, but from my understanding, it was Russia.
Oh.
Russia did. They actually used a kettlebell. Yeah. It was actually a kettlebell, and it had a handle on it. Said, "Hey, we could use these to work out." What's interesting? Go on YouTube, and you could go to just put in like I don't want to say garage gyms, but you could find like sites that have gyms from Russia or Africa where they just whatever's laying around, they'll figure out a way to construct it so you could squat, you could do, and you kind of feel like. Maybe I don't need to have a membership at XYZ gym where, there's a $20,000 piece of equipment that essentially is going to do the same thing as if I just pick up a boulder and hand it to you and we stand back and forth handing it to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. You really get a good workout. You do a lot of stuff. You improvise a lot when you're outside.
I really enjoy it because I spent so many years in the gym. There was a time I loved being in the gym. Now I'm not so big on it, only because I spent so many years there. But yeah, and I love being outside,
Yeah.
And being creative. So last year during the pandemic, all the gyms were closed. I went to Home Depot. I bought a couple really cheap door handles.
Yeah.
And I found a log laying in the woods, and I screwed it in there, and was doing cleans with that, trunk turns, presses, everything. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Get outside. I agree. Get outside too. Yeah. Definitely. So now we talk about diet a lot too. So it's the holiday season. So sometimes people have the hot dogs or hamburgers. Do you cheat a little bit and get the hot dogs or hamburgers going, or you stick?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I do, and I feel that it's okay. Obviously, it's not going to disrupt anything. The only difference is that I think sometimes I'll feel it in my stomach because my stomach's not used to eating that type of food. I enjoy it, and then a little later I'm like, I don't feel so great.
Yeah. Like, you and I both do the fasting and clean diets and all. I was getting my oil changed in my car. There's a Greasy Spoon diner next to the place. And I thought, you know what? It's breakfast. I'm going to go have some breakfast. I'm going to go with bacon and eggs and sausage and hash browns and a whole bit. Greasy place too, right? After I was done, I was sick.
What I do, I watch like the food shows. So like Guy Fieri has that diners, drive-ins, and dives. You know?
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, not all, but predominantly his stuff is greasy diner food.
Yeah.
And it looks so good. And I just sit there. I hope I don't offend anybody. It's almost like porn because you're never going to get that beautiful woman. And I'm never going to eat that food, but I enjoy.
That's terrible.
It is pretty bad. But anyway.
No, that's true though. Yeah. You watch it.
It's a way to cheat. I'll sit there eating like kale salad watching that. Yeah. And it's like, what am I doing?
It's so funny because it used to be chips and dip for me. Now I make my own hummus and I get the cucumber slices and everything. I'm sitting outside having
times change, people change.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we did a show the day James Patrick joined myself and Dave Maloney on our Thursday show. We were kind of joking about the old days, drinking Jack Daniels, all that stuff. And now they see me, all the food I've eaten, and times have changed.
In fact, I think it was the first date Beth and I went on years ago. Went to a comedy club, and one of the comedians was this guy by the name of Johnny Goomba, right? Real Italian dude.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, he goes, I just turned 50 and man, things are different. He goes, I used to meet, because he's from I think Brooklyn or somewhere. He goes, used to meet the boys on the corner in the morning, and I had this girl last night. Now it's like I meet them I had a piece of veal last night, this thick. So things change.
Yeah, they do.
Priorities change as you age.
Yeah, definitely do. We want to keep reminding everybody to August 7th is the date, or 7th?
Yeah, August 7th. We did it's a Navy SEAL swim across the Hudson. It's for GI Go Fund. If anybody wants to check out the website, it's gigofund.org. You can make a donation if you'd like, or you can just read up on the swim. Last Wednesday, we did what we call a dial-in swim, where a couple of SEALs swam across the Hudson. I was on deck checking out the currents. And as it turns out this year, Tom, they're going to get wet at 3:30 in the afternoon. Because the only other time that particular day that they could get the swim accomplished with the currents would be 5 a.m. So it's a little prohibitive. So we're going to get in the water at 3:30. I don't know, what's it, 2.5 hours basically last year to get.
Yeah, probably was, more
or less. So they'll probably get done about 6 p.m. Thereabouts. And then there'll be some.
And everybody, if you get a chance to go, if we're allowed to go, I'm assuming we will be based on the way things are going. Looks like it.
We are, by the way.
Oh, okay. So
I did confirm that this week. There will be a sightseeing boat that people that want to go and follow the whole swim can attend.
Nice. So, you can also go. Where does this start again? Where did they have the speeches and everything?
So we start at Liberty State Park at the Fallen Towers Memorial.
Right.
And that's where you saw the benediction and the speeches and the 100 push-ups. And then the flag run is down to, if anybody watches, you see the commercial. I think it's Liberty Mutual. They're on the boardwalk, and you can see the statue in the background.
Right.
That's where the guys go into the water.
Right.
And then of course
if you get a chance to go, everybody, it's one of the most fantastic things I've ever been to. It was so patriotic and emotional and everything. Watching these, so this is the third annual one. I think the first time there's like maybe 20 or something. 50 last year. 33 SEALs the first year, 56 SEALs last year. Probably about 10 or so veterans and first responders. So it was around 67 swimmers last year. There's over 120 SEALs alone, and that's not including. So the number's going to be big this year. Yeah, great guys too. Really fantastic people to be around. Very motivational. I've gotten to learn a lot of things from them. There's one guy, I can't remember his name, but he was the one that said to me, he says, every day, Tom, I write myself a contract, and the contract says to get better every day. When he said that to me, I was like, oh God, I've got to remember that. And I've used it a few times. So I told him, I said, I'm going to steal that one from me. He said, that's fine.
Well, you know, I'm really big on slogans. I have a book. I write them down, right?
Yep.
Most of it's for myself, but some of it I like to utilize when I'm teaching. And the 5 that I've kind of picked and cherry picked, and the 5 that I always talk to kids at hockey schools about, and then people in general, are the following. And so the first one's a Navy SEAL one, and that is that habits equate everything you do, right? Your habits equate everything you do.
Right.
The follow-up to that is don't let poor effort become a habit. And then from there, we talk about, you know, a lot of times we talk about adversity and it's a negative thing. No, adversity creates winners.
Yeah.
You know, and then the last 2 are success leaves clues. So if you're successful, look to what got you there. And then the very last one is prove people wrong. You know, and to be honest with you, just about every professional fighter that had success, a lot of athletes in other arenas, hockey and football and stuff, they were told, no, you can't do it yet. Persevere. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I remember growing up as a kid in Canada. So everybody wants to play hockey in Canada, right? Everybody wants to play in the National Hockey League, but very few people make it. And I was going around as a kid going, I'm playing in the National Hockey League. I remember getting told by so many people, Tom, you know, it's not going to happen. And you know, I would have probably said that to me too at the time, because I was never one of the best players on the team. And and again, when I say that to people, and really, when I started playing, I could not stand up in my skates. Yeah. But I'm still going around telling everybody I'm playing in the National Hockey League. And I tell people that now. I say, listen, yeah, you can really accomplish anything. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are right now. It's what you do later on down. Now, I tell people I live with thoroughly blissful ignorance. I just go. I just don't. Yeah. I don't listen to anybody, and I just make it happen.
We had I wasn't there, but my mentor, my trainer, my training partner, actually one of my best friends in life, Joe Greer. He went over to I think it was Germany. It was somewhere in Europe with an American team. This was I want to say 73, 74, somewhere around there. And his heavyweight that he brought over got injured, got cut or something. He couldn't fight. So he goes, I got a guy back in Jersey. So he calls up my friend, Scott Frank, who flies over to Germany. And Scott's 16 years of age at the time, 16-year-old kid, and heavyweight fighter. So he gets there and they're all like, who's this kid? So they put him, the fight he had to fight was a German who won the silver medal in the 72 games. So you got a medal winner going against a 16-year-old kid, heavyweights. These are big dudes, right? Yeah. And Scott was, so when we wrap hands, you sit, the chair's in front of you, you put your hand up on the chair like that, and your trainer wraps your hands. So he's wrapping Scott. Scott's got his hand up. He looks at Joe, goes, you're not stopping me. He looks at, because the referee's doing, he's not stopping me. Nobody's stopping me. And Joe had 28 professional fights of his own, high-level fighter.
Right.
I don't know, thousands, literally amateur fights he's trained over the years. He's had so many good professional fights working in the corner. Best fight he ever saw, ever took part of. It was from corner to corner to corner to corner. Scott was determined, and he beat the guy.
Oh,
16-year-old kid. Yeah. So that's a great story, just in the sense that, you know, make your mind up.
Oh, yeah.
Only you can stop you.
Yeah, that's totally true too. And I've told the story before, and I showed the video. So, you know, I've jumped all my life for getting to the NHL. I have a good training camp my rookie year. Freddie Shiro's the coach, you know, and he'd called myself, Eddie Hospodar, and Chris Katsopoulos in. He says, now listen, I'm not telling you guys to fight, but you're not going to play the first 5 minutes of the game. You're not playing the last 5 minutes of the game. What do you think you can do to help us? You're all 6'2", 210 pounds, whatever. So you want us to fight. Yeah. So we go to Boston, the first regular season game. And again, at that point, they hadn't told me I'd made the team yet. Obviously, it was still there, but there was no confirmation I was there. And my first game, I shoot the puck in my own net. I bounce it off JD's leg. I was so nervous, you know. And it's one of those deals. You come back to the bench too. It's not a coaching moment. Like, what are they going to tell you, Tom? Don't do that. So you come back to the bench, nobody talks to you. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I've just screwed up my career. I've dropped my whole life to get here. Next night we're going to Toronto, and my parents are there because they're from the Toronto area, Maple Leaf Gardens, and I watched so many games from Maple Leaf Gardens. So again, I'm just like out of the lights and everything. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. First period, I'm carrying the puck to the neutral zone, and Robert Picard butt ends me. The old butt end move. Like he really wasn't trying to hurt me, but he pulled me down, and I was right in front of a bench. The bench jumps up and screams for a penalty. I'm thinking to myself, I can't listen. It's not that bad what he did, but I can't let that happen. Because after what happened the night before, so I stood up and I just knocked him out cold. Gave him a left, just came up off the dirt and just boom. Kenny Bigby, our buddy, he saw the video. He goes, Tom, that's one of the best punches I've ever seen. He was fired up. He's Navy SEAL fired. So knocked him out. Daryl Sittler comes over, and again, I grew up watching Daryl Sittler play. Yeah. So he's coming over to F this and F that. And I honestly, I'm thinking at the time, I wanted to get his autograph. That's what I'm thinking. He's coming towards me. I had to kind of snap out of it, FU fighting. But it was the same thing. I remember that flash, that moment where I'm thinking, my whole life, I comprehended what the situation was. I planned on getting here my whole life. Here I am. I've got to do something about this, and knocked him out. So and after the game, they told me to get a place to stay. That I made the team. So
the moment presented itself to you, and you took advantage of it, or not advantage of it. You showed up and answered the bell. Yeah,
definitely. And I tell that for the lesson for other people too, that listen, I screwed up the night before. I shot in my own net, but I couldn't let myself dwell on that. Now I had to correct that mistake and do something about it. That's what I say to people. You're going to make mistakes. It's guaranteed fact. You'll make mistakes in life, and it's what you do about it afterwards. So. Yeah.
Well, I remember you were telling me a while back about Ted Sater, and you had some funky drills and this and that, and you're like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And then you had a game where a one-timer or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes when you're training an athlete or whoever it is, you got to explain to them, look, it may not make sense to you now, and you may never use this, but when you need it, it's there.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And I was so lucky. I know I've told this story too. My junior B coach in my hometown had me do breakout drills all the time and scream at me during the breakout drills because I wasn't skating hard enough back. Right. And that became a staple of my game, right? That was one of the best, I learned, get the puck, get it to the forward. That's my job. My job's done, right? Yeah, very true.
So I want to get back to the kettlebells, Tom.
Yep.
So I have a 50-pound kettlebell. I have a 30-pound kettlebell. That's all I have. And that's enough to be able to get done what I need to get done.
Yeah.
So you don't need you don't need a rack of, 20 to 100-pound dumbbells.
Definitely.
And it's great for the home, and I take it out to the field.
Yeah. So we have some intelligent viewers and listeners here. Barry Shelley is a very intelligent man. Yes, hey guys, hope you both agree with me. You created a great spread yesterday. See, he's a food critic, and he's an intelligent man too. Good job, Barry. Barry is actually a veteran too for us. So
yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much
for your service, Barry.
Barry's something else too. He built a rink in his attic.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, he's a good man. Really good man. All right. So what's our plan today then? No working out. You've done anything?
I'm going to be heading up to my martial arts school. Going to do some skill work today. I already did my resistance work this morning, and it's just another day for me. I mean,
I know. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Don't work out
now. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'm participating in a 2-day seminar on C4C, which is close quarter combat. And I'm looking forward to that because we're gonna be wearing. So there's a guy by the name of Tony Blauer who's a real well-respected big guy in the self-defense world. Trained SEALs, Special Forces, all those guys. He came up with a suit, so to speak, that you and I could wail on each other and you're not going to feel it.
Oh,
we're going to be a part of the training we're doing. We're going to be wearing a newer evolution of that, or the next generation of that suit. But we're going to be doing it with weapon retention and knife defense. And so we're going to really be able to go after each other. And
cool.
I'm sure I'm going to be the only civilian there. It's going to be law enforcement and military guys. But so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but a lot of fun.
You do quite a few of those, don't you? Learning stuff.
Yeah. So I'm look, there's a guy that Erasmus, who was a Dutch philosopher, and he said, all my money, a part of my money goes to food and shelter. The important part of my money goes to books. And I kind of like that concept.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly reading, either attending seminars or giving them. And I think, and you'll agree, when you're teaching, you're still learning.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're still learning because there'll be a question. You got to come up with an answer.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it just reinforces everything you know. And it's good to always, it's like iron sharpens iron. Neurons that fire together wire together.
Nice. I like that one. Yeah. Well, it's true that you got to prepare, right? So you do things like you assume you know something, and then you go research it and you learn something. Well, you were great with that with the autophagy, with fasting and everything too. I thought I know what fasting is. It's just burning fat, and then you start talking about autophagy, and then I go look it up. Well, it's geez, wow, I didn't understand that. Yeah.
And just keep going and going and going. So yeah, I enjoy it. Keeps me out of trouble too.
Oh, no, that's not possible. That's not possible. All right, everybody. Great show. Thanks very much again, Mr. Mark Puttenvink, Patriot Training Systems.
Yes,
again,
sir.
You can contact him and get any kind of training you want. Actually, you know what? I was talking about, I had a viewer, I think it was after our Thursday show, contact me. He had listened to us talk about fasting. He started fasting, and he only did it for about a week, and he gained 4 pounds. Does that happen?
Well, generally speaking, no. I'd like to find out from him exactly how he fasted.
Yeah, we spoke after show. He was doing a 16-hour fast, and really, he was low calories too. Like he was only, I think, bringing in less than 2,000 calories. And
but see, that's not really what fasting is. I mean, there are days. So let me just say this: there's intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting means you're not really fasting.
Yeah.
Because fasting means going 24, 48, 72 hours without food other than water.
Right.
That's what fasting. Intermittent fasting is you get the benefits of doing that without having to stretch out. So that's why it's a 16, and that 8-hour window of opportunity to eat, you eat. You don't reduce your calories, because what happens is your body can go into starvation mode.
Right.
Versus, hey, Tom's not feeding me now for like 4 days. What is going on? So I'm going to, survival DNA says any food I take in, I'm going to store as body fat, regardless of carbohydrate, protein, or fat.
But apparently he didn't change his diet at all. He had been eating the same number of calories, and he was losing weight. The doctor put him on a diet. He was losing weight of that 2,000 range, I think it was, of calories. And then he kept eating the same foods during that 8-hour window where he could eat and gain the weight. Now, I thought to myself, again, he was losing weight before he started fasting. So we talked it over. He said, listen, give it a try for 3 weeks, see what happens.
Yeah, we're a little bit short to really get that's just a snapshot. Your body, and again, it depends when you're weighing yourself, because you're going to be lighter in the morning, you're going to be heavier at night.
See, and that's a good point. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's a good point, because he said while he was fasting, he really felt leaner, like he felt like he was leaning out. So the weight, when you're weighing yourself, that's why I said, I hate getting on a scale. I guess it's just so unreliable. Yeah.
Well, because I came from a sport where it's weight.
Yeah.
Like you got to make weight. And I was talking to my friend Keith Idek. He's a pretty respected boxing writer, right? We were talking about, and I always told my fighters, I was talking to Tony Ricci, who's a really respected strength and conditioning guy. He's a professor down in University in Florida. And I said, I always told my fighters, don't get more than 8 to 10 pounds over your fighting weight. He goes, yeah, it's better to think of it as a percentage, because 8 pounds on a guy who weighs 150 is a bigger percentage than 8 pounds on a guy who weighs 250. I said, yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, no question. All right, guys, great show. Again, we'll see Mr. Puttenvink next week. Again, it's Patriot Training Systems if you want to get a hold of him. Great job. Have a great day, everybody, and stay safe.